all for coming and honoring me with your time. I'm going to do my best to honor you and get us out of here on time, because I know we all have stuff to do. If we're approaching that window, I will let you know and ask permission if we need to go over, but I'm planning on that. First off, thank you for coming. Lunch was on me. That's another one of our revenue streams. I'm the owner of GGP Enterprises. I'm a licensed general contractor. One of the services we provide are full house renovations. We get a lot of referrals from my home group agents, which thank you for trusting us to do that. Another one of our services is we do Binzer repairs. So if you need Binzer repairs, it's something we focus on. Another one of our services is oftentimes when you're representing the buyer and you're wanting to get a little reduction or want to massage using that home inspection a little bit, I can help you leverage that by writing a very appropriate estimate. I charge $300 for that. If the buyer wants to use me to do the work, I refund that money to them or credit to them on the backside. So it's pretty much a free of charge if they want to go for it. One of the other cool things we do, depending on the size of the job, I will finance the remodel and get paid, or finance the Binzer items and get paid through escrow. So I try to be a useful resource to you guys. So that's one area, that's one section of our business. That's who sponsored lunch. So I'm gonna take that hat off now and put on this. I'm Travis, I'm the wholesale guy. So that's what you came here for. So we're gonna have fun today. This is a little bit of an interaction. I want to hear voices. I work off of your intensity too. One thing I will ask, will you all please, all of us, double check, make sure our phones are in the shh, be quiet, because this is your time. I don't want you to be interrupted from hearing what you need to hear. So, wholesaling 101, we're going to get right into it. Here is our plan for the day. I have an introduction. We're going to talk about entrepreneurs' mindset, investors, what the heck is a wholesale, how to identify wholesale properties, the offer, the process, the contract, exit strategies, assignment versus double escrow, and resources. So we have a lot to cover in 90 minutes, so here we go. Why do we need this skill set? This is important in today's market. How's it going in the market? Like, your listing selling? We have 29,000, 26,000, 27,000 listings on the market right now? Yeah, it's pretty, right? This is another revenue stream. I have 4 revenue streams. I believe in multiple revenue streams. Add this to your skill set. This was a big help. Becoming a resource to others. Oftentimes, I've been able to do creative deals because of my wholesaling background and relationships with private money, that we can get deals done that would never get done. So being a resource in those tough situations is important. And it sets up a springboard into flipping. I mean, one day, someday, we don't want to put a client in our car, right? We'd like to have maybe some residual, or maybe retire. Like, this is one of those things that you can do that will lead you in that direction. And it helps you be savvy with the shady shades. How often have you come across shady shades with other agents or sometimes even sellers? Getting to know some wholesale terminology is going to help you with that. It gives you kind of that, I smell BS. You can kind of sense that. So having the knowledge about that, it really helps you with some wisdom. As I go along, if you have questions, please hit me up. I'll stop and we'll talk through it. So let me give you a little bit of my background. I grew up in a 1958 Chevy Suburban that looked very much like that, almost the identical color. It does not have a door in the driver's side rear. It was only a 3-door deal. That's what my dad drove. And with him, I would go and do remodels. When I was about high school, I was a little big for my age, and I was the one that would carry the heavy stuff. That was my job. So I was the donkey. Well, also when you get married, guys, just by the way, sometimes it doesn't say it in your vows, but sometimes it also means pack mule, which I've also been that guy. So married guys, I got that joke, cool. So I grew up in the back of that truck, met my would-be wife in high school, and we kind of had a plan and a dream, and I was the first one in my family ever to go and get a college education, because one day I said, I don't like carrying the OSB up the ladder and putting it on the roof. I really don't like laying shingles. This is not joy. I make good money, but it isn't fun. My back hurts. So I'm like, I'll go get a degree, then I'll be set, right? You get a college degree, I'm 50, a lot of you guys are a lot younger, like that if you had a college degree back then, that really meant you were set, right? You're guaranteed a job for life. That worked out great, didn't it? Anybody else have degrees? Oh man. So I got a business degree. I was studying to get a business degree. Failed accounting 3 times. Couldn't pass accounting. Couldn't get my head around it. So then I got into communications, and I'm like, awesome. We'll go in communications. My wife was in teaching, so we both graduated. Within 90 days, we both got jobs, got married, and off we went. And then, a year later, after you've been married for a little while, what tends to happen? Any takers? Kids, right? Well, my wife was making more money than I was, and I was like a social worker because I have a communications degree. Like, what am I going to do with a communications degree? So I was bemoaning to a buddy of mine in Bible study, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do here. And he's like, you have building experience. Why don't you come work for the home builders? He's like, I can get you a job. I'm like, sweet, all right, cool. So off I went to UDC Homes. Anybody remember UDC Homes back in the day? So my first project was McDowell Mountain Ranch, and then I built DC Ranch. And then some transition happened, and UDC sold out to Shea and Standard Pacific. So I went with the Standard Pacific side, and I got landed on a project off of 99th and the 10. I can't remember the name of it right now, but Coldwater Springs. Any golfers? Coldwater Springs. I built that community. So at that point in time, I was the youngest superintendent that Standard Pacific Homes had, and I had the best customer service skills, the best build times. This community just hummed, and I was really excited about it. And I was like, I seen my boss's boss riding around in that brand new truck, and it's very attractive. So what I need to do is I need to get an MBA, because if you have an MBA, again, you are set. And if I get an MBA, maybe I can make like $60,000 a year. Like, that would be huge. We would be so set. So off I went, got my MBA. My thesis, I wrote a thesis about how if Standard Pacific were to purchase this piece of land off of I-17 and Carefree Highway and offer a semi-custom product, they would make $1 billion. So it was 136 pages long. I had charts and graphs and feasibility. I did all the work on this. And then I got printed off, passed the class, got my degree, scheduled an appointment with the VP of Construction to tell him about this amazing idea I have, in hopes of getting promoted in construction management, because I could almost make $60,000. It would be so cool. So I scheduled a meeting with Mr. Mario, sat down, did an hour-long presentation, had charts and graphs, and told him the whole story. I said, hey, what do you think? You ready to promote me? He's like, sir, you are the youngest superintendent we have. Remember your spot. Remember your place. There's so many other people that have more experience than you. It doesn't matter that you are the best. It doesn't matter. You just need to bide your time. So I went home heartbroken. Like, oh my gosh, I put all this effort. I really thought that was going to be my big shot. And crying about it, praying about it, trying to figure out what to do. And then that was in September. Come December, home builders always have these huge Christmas parties where they do awards. And during the award ceremony, Mr. Mario got called up and got this huge award and bonus check for this amazing new job site that was his idea off of Carefree Highway and I-17. Has anyone heard of Tremonto? That was my baby. So anyways, after that, I was like, we're done, we're out. So I quit that job. I went to Del Webb. I was a project manager for Del Webb for 20 years. So has anyone heard of Sun City Grand? Portobello? Sun City Festival, those were my projects. So during which time, who can tell me what happened in 2006? What was market doing?
Wonderful.
It was freaking kicking butt, right? We were slaying. So the project I was on at that point was Portobello. We would start 40 houses a day and finish 40 houses a day. And at every waypoint, checkpoint, there was 40 houses. So it takes a lot of people to make that happen. So during which time, there was a massive vacuum in the building industry. So trying to find people to help us run this project was very difficult. So we would hire straight out of military, straight out of college, sometimes out of the trades, and we created this amazing team. This team was phenomenal. One of my passions is teaching and training. I love doing that. So I don't know another way of teaching and training than be like, got my arm around you. Hey, you watch me do this. Now you do this. I'm gonna watch you do this. Now show somebody else. So mentoring constantly. They knew my wife, they knew my kids. I knew their spouses, I knew their kids. We kicked butt. Our profit margin was 38%, which the ROI on a new builder, anybody in the building industry ever, like if you're kicking 18%, you were slinging it. We were 38% in our ROI, so we were killing it. However, what happened in 2008?
Market.
Right? Big old dump on the market. So the 20 people that were in our group and our team, I had to have those hard conversations with. So out of that group, we had 1 suicide and 3 divorces. And I was heartbroken. These were my people. These were my friends. And I told Kirsten, my hot wife, I said, hey, I can never lead again and not be able to teach people how to feed themselves and how to feed their family. And everybody kind of dispersed. Well, fast forward about 18 months, I was next in line to kind of run Phoenix as far as with that builder. So I went from that position and had a very big identity in my position. It's very common for people in their early 30s to really get attached to what we do and not who we definitely are. So I went from being big cheese to sweeping houses out again and really feeling bad about myself. Like, what is this? It really caused kind of a crisis of conscience and led me to my roots. Like, I did a lot of praying, soul searching. God, what is this? What is this? And he's like, hey, dude, remember who you are in me, not who you think you are in what you do. So I learned a really hard lesson there, and it was one that cost me. And going through some introspection and figure things out, God had told me, hey, 18 people, I didn't say this, but start your company. Start your company. You've always had a dream of starting this company. So we started a builder, kind of, remodeler, and we started doing customizations for these people that would buy new houses. We turn it into their home. So we had a gynecologist that was like a super avid hunter, and we built from his 1-car garage, we turned it into a man cave. Had I ever done that before? No. But could I? Yes. We're going to do countertops. We're going to do backyard projects. Have I ever done that before? No. Could I figure it out? Yes. So we would always say yes. Anytime someone said they needed something, we would do it. Yes. It's always a good attitude to have. Yes. So as I went, my boss came to me one day, my mentor, gave me a pat on the butt and a severance check and said, hey, it's your turn. Yeah. So I cashed in my 401k, I cashed in my severance check, and thank God we had this company already started, and we started flipping houses. So to date, I've had my hand in, I stopped counting after 650 flips or wholesales in the last 18 years. So this is my passion. This is the bedrock of all of our businesses, was starting this flipping company plus the wholesales. So my very first wholesale, back up for a second, I was working on my very first flip, 35th Avenue in Greenway. Bought it from the bank, was a bomb. If it smells bad, that means you're making money. So this house had, Fred Flintstone was like, did you guys ever watch the Flintstones? You know what that is? Okay, so imagine his house, that's what the backyard looked like. Like the guy who owned it was like a pool guy that would build all these monstrosities out of iron and rebar, and we had to bring in a ram hoe and knock it all out. That happened. I found cocaine in the master bathroom. That was cool. I didn't sell it to make more money and more profit. I definitely disposed of it appropriately and not into me. I put it in the toilet. So, I also found, we were pulling the shower walls down and it rained roaches, like roaches. So we had to do a bomb in there, and then the next day I went in with a broom and I filled up a 55-gallon bucket of just roaches. It was gnarly. So anyways, we're down to the last minute. I'm hiring an agent to help me sell the house, and God's like, hey, you should get your license. I'm like, that can't be God. I should have. No, why would I do that? So I hired this agent, and then I was driving home like a December evening. What time does it get dark in December? 5-ish, 5:30. So I was on my way home, and I was like, man, I need to get another deal because I'm going to lose my guys. Because we've been working on this house, I can't lose the guys. I need to get another deal. So I called a buddy. Hey, you got any deals? He's like, yeah. As a matter of fact, I got one. I'm like, okay. He just came to me today. I'm like, sweet. Tell me about it. He's like, it's off at 12th Street in Dunlap. Just head on down. Here's the address. I said, sweet. So it's 5:30 at night when I'm leaving my job site. The sun's starting to go down. And I'm going to 12th Street in Dunlap. Is that such a cool area? Have you guys ever been there? It's awesome. It's awesome. So I roll up with lights on, headlights on, pull up, and it looks like a haunted mansion from Disneyland. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pop in. I've got a lockbox. I go in. I'm walking through with my flashlight, looking at everything, and it reeks. It stinks so bad. I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. I get into the upstairs. I'm walking around. I open a closet door, and a homeless dude jumps out at me. I was like, holy crap. Had a little bit of a heart attack. Chased him off, got in the truck, called my buddy, said, yeah, I'll take it. How much is it? $20,000. Awesome. I'll take it. I'll write you the contract when I get home. I'm driving from 12th Street to Dunlap out to Surprise, where I live. Phone rings. Another buddy calls me, hey, Travis. I'm so glad I got a hold of you. I'm in a pinch. I'm like, what's going on? Well, I need to buy a house. I'm like, okay. I go, I got one. He's like, oh, dude, tell me about your house. Well, it's in this up-and-coming neighborhood off of 12th Street in Dunlap. And the neighbors are very friendly. I met one today. So, you know, I'll give it to you at a deal at 40 grand. And he's like, done. So that was my first wholesale. In 5 minutes, I made a phone call, got another phone call, made $20,000 in 30 minutes. Do I have your attention? Is this interesting? Okay, cool. So in the meantime, I'll kind of back up that story. We continued on with the flipping. I really thought I didn't hear Dad about the whole getting my license thing, being a real estate agent, and things went drastically bad. My source of wholesales kind of dried up for a little bit. All of our remodels took a big crash, and God's like, hey, what did I tell you to do? Like, you told me to get my real estate license. So went back and got my real estate license, and within a month he paid off every debt that we had with it. So I'll encourage you, if you hear God say something, freaking do it. So now we have EIG, Elite Integrity Group. That's a team my wife and I own for real estate. We do coaching and mentoring in that. That's another one of our revenue streams. I'm licensed here and also in California. So I think I just label out like 5 different things we do. It's really important in our industry to continue to bring in revenue streams, because times like now, things are a little slow. This gives you a way to earn. All right, this is how I see life. Life is like a 3-legged stool. Like, you got a thing on top and 3 legs. God's on top. We all need to have some type of. I talk about God and Jesus a lot. That's just who I am. If you're around me, you're going to hear it. If you're not comfortable with that, just take a minute. It's okay. We'll come back to you. We'll talk more. But we need to have some semblance of accountability if we're going to be in business. We can't just be willy-nilly. If we're willy-nilly and don't have any accountability, we're going to be a flash in the pan, because all we're about is making money at that point. And that leads us to no fun in life. So one of the legs that come down on our stool is relationships. I work with over 1,000 cash buyers, and these people are most of the time miserable. All they talk about is how their kids only love them because of the money. What can I do for you now? Their wife or ex-wife or 3 ex-wives or 4 ex-husbands only want because of the money, and they're miserable. So we look at it as, what do I do? And I coach on this. What am I doing this week to show love one directionally with no hook, nothing attached to it? That's what we talk about in our group. Body. God gave us this. What are we doing with it so that we can do all the stuff that we need to do? Are we keeping it in some semblance of shape? One of the guys in our group, he has an autoimmune. Sometimes his deal is he just needs to go to the doctor that week, or he needs to take a nap. So some people are like, I need to work out, or whatever. Whatever is good for your body, we need to do that. Business. Business is only here to fund our lifestyle. It is not where our identity is wrapped up in. Like I told you, I learned a real hard lesson that way. This is only here to make money. That's the only reason we do it. And it's to do all that other stuff. So that's how we coach. Let's a little snippet of that. All right, let's talk about being an entrepreneur. Multiple revenue streams. We've been talking about, mentioned that a few times here. So I've got this really cool acronym. All right, let's talk about it now that is everyone here licensed? Anyone not licensed? Because I did this without a license for many years. Cool, I'm glad you're here. So if we're a licensed agent, B, what's a revenue stream that starts with B?
Buyers.
Buyers, nice. S.
Sellers.
Sellers. R.
Rentals.
Rentals, good job. WS. Wholesale, baby, yes. F and F? Fix and flip, very nice. This is a stumper. C.
Creative.
Commercial, good job. Creative's good too. Creative financing. We do all of these in our group. Every bit of this. That's what we teach and mentor. Remember I said I never wanted to lead someone into an industry again, not being able to feed themselves? That's what we teach on as mentors. Volume's the king. As we do this with multiple revenue streams, when one is going down, another's coming up. It's a beautiful thing about the housing industry. When one thing's going down, something else is going up. We're going to lead with earnings. We're going to have a low overhead, stay lean and mean, and we're going to grow as you earn. How many of you get calls about how you can just spend $500 a month and get so many good leads? Please, hang up. Don't do that. Coaching, please carefully select your mentors. It really matters who you listen to. The mentors that helped me with my first fix and flip met with me for lunch one day and then said, hey, it's going to cost you money for us to teach you. And I said, okay, how much do I need to write the check for? If you're listening to free mentorship, that also is something to be watching out for. It should cost you something. If it doesn't cost you something, you're not going to do it. Okay. Investors! It's a person or entity, this is what Investopedia says, a person or entity who commits capital with the expectation of financial returns. By the way, as we go, if you guys want to take pictures, as we get into some meat, feel free to do so. We need to really know our audience. There are different types of investors. The full-time investors are super fast-paced. They know their numbers, they're super intense, they know their market, they're going to know it better than you. Because we're just a resource. We don't need to be everything to all people. We just are a resource. Case in point, I have a young lady that I can call. Say, hey, I got a deal. She'll say, where is it? And I hear, tick, tick, tick. Okay, this is the price. Okay, tick, tick, tick. I'll take it. She makes the decisions on buying from me within 30 seconds. If it's not a deal for her, she'll go, no, pass on. And I've worked with her for years. She's fantastic. And she is a freaking savage. She makes a lot of money. Key indicators. They have margin standards. What does that mean? And they talk, if they're going to talk, spreads. Do they talk in exact dollar figures or were they talking percentages? If you're working with a full-time investor, they're going to talk about margin standards in percentages. Why is that important to them?
That's going to be about.
They need to know, right? There's only certain, when I get to, I'm going to show you a value analytic. There's investors will only bite on a deal if it's a certain ROI. When you're talking about full-time people. They have several exit strategies. Sometimes they'll flip it. Sometimes they'll hold on to it and rent it. Sometimes they'll turn it into, which my mentors did, they turned it into a rent-to-own situation. Those guys are each worth about $8 million. And they make fast decision-making, and they have contract labor. All of their labor are licensed contractors. So because, why do we have to have a licensed contractor on a flip, realtors? Why?
It's the law.
It's a law. Yep. If you don't have a licensed contractor on your flip, you have intent, if you're a seller or you are a flipper, and have intent of selling that property within the first year, and you do sell that property and there's a problem, the register of contractors can come back and fine you significantly and there's jail time. So heads up out there contracting without a license. Part-timers. They're more patient, they're skittish, they're scared, they have lots of questions. They rely on you heavily for research. This is where we really have to walk that line of our code of ethics of what we're going to say and what we're not. We have to make them make the decision, but we have to give them the information. If you're working with one of these guys, let me tell you about John. My sons all played baseball. Our two sons played baseball. Only two sons. One of their coaches was always asking me, Travis, you're at every practice. You're at every game. How are you doing this? I'm like, well, I flip houses and I teach people how to do it. He's like, can you help me? I'm drowning in debt. I've got a 403B, got a bunch of money in there. Can we do something? I'm like, yeah, yes, we can. So he pulled out his 403B. We flipped 12 houses together, and then he went back to being a teacher. He paid off his house, did an addition, helped his mom, got his kids' college fund back and saving, and they're rolling. But I will tell you, when he said, okay, yes, let's do this, how do you think that made me feel when he said, here is my only $250,000. Here you go. You feel the weight of that? Like, that's what we should be feeling if we're working with investors. It's this little Johnny's college fund. This is Susie's retirement. They have limited exit strategies. They need to sell this house. They don't need a rental. They need to make this house go away. They're going to be concerned about specific earnings. How much money can I make on this deal? And we're going to talk about, you should be between, 15 to 35,000 or whatever your parameters are. You should be able to coach on that. It takes longer to evaluate deals. These folks will sometimes get stymied and be stewing, and it's our job, like, here's the information, let me know when you're ready. In the meantime, I'm marketing to everybody else, so just fair is fair. If it's gone, it's gone. And they do DIY labor. Legally, you are allowed to work on a house that you own, but if you have intent to sell it with profit, that's when you get in trouble. Any questions so far? All right, making sense to everybody? Okay. Marketing to both. My father-in-law has an amazing saying. Everyone comes to family dinner on Sunday, and everybody should be able to eat, whether it's from the grandparent, great-grandparent, to the baby. So I keep that in mind when I'm doing my marketing. I need everyone to understand whether they are a brand new investor or someone who's been at it for a long time. So this, if I understand their need sets, it really helps. We need to know some terms. How about ROI? What's that mean?
Return on investment.
All right, cap rate.
Percentage.
Capital issue.
You guys remember that from our 90 hours figuring out cap rate?
Use it all the time in income properties.
On income properties, yeah. Yeah. This is a big term, especially with people who are building rental portfolios. Usually if you're over a 7% cap, it's an earn. So cap rate has to do with purchase price and what you invest, what your overhead costs are, and insurance, carry, etc., divided by what you earn on it per month.
Net operating income.
Net operating income, and then you can look it up on the internet if you really need to know, but that's the gist of it. But 7% is usually the jam there. And then they have market areas. I always send a text. Text is best. It gets open about 90% of the time. Email is usually 10%. I do both. Why?
Some people like certain stock. Some investors like to text. Some like, some like to be called.
Yes. So, yes. The answer is yes, 100%. Text message is kind of like an appetizer. I send that out, and it's just a little bit of information. The email has a lot more information. So, this is an example text. This one, we just did this one. It's in the middle of beginning rehab right now. This one they closed in May. So, this is my text. New wholesale. 12021 North 65th Avenue. Here's my link to the pictures. WS, what does that mean?
Wholesale.
Wholesale price. How about EST rehab? Estimated rehab value. Estimated ARV. What is ARV?
After repair value.
Good job. So when an investor looks at this, are they getting what they need?
Yeah.
Getting a basic understanding of it, right? How about this? This is the email. Same address, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 3-car extended garage. We have a bonus comma there, just for those who pay attention. Pool and a detached workshop. 2388 square feet, 10,000 square foot lot, 2-story block built home, roof replaced in 2007. Does this help an investor? Paints a story, right? Close of escrow 523, needs a full cosmetic remodel, patio structure, termite treatment, and pool retro. Gives a good example what needs to happen. Then I said same stuff, same information, see the pics. Comps. Does that help an investor? Heck yeah. Oh, by the way, this house was a hoarder situation. You could barely walk through it. It smelled to high heaven. The cool thing is for me, since COVID, I don't really smell anymore. So if it smells bad, it's the same smell. So I can walk through and it doesn't bother me a bit. I did take one of our team members to one once, and she was newly pregnant and she was retching in the front yard. So anyways, just be careful if you're going to go on these things. Maybe bring something if you're attuned to olfactory offenses. Next paragraph. First contracted $5,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit per property wins at title. Call me for access. Buyer to verify all facts and figures. Buyer pays all closing costs. Ask me about 100% property and rehab financing program. It's a lot of words. What does all that mean?
Estimated it's not a daisy chain, that's the EOD. There's other stuff.
What's a daisy chain? That's good. Thanks for bringing that up. What's that mean?
Means there's multiple wholesalers in it. And from that blast, you can't really see if it's daisy chained or not.
I know daisy chain. When I teach you guys how to do this, you're direct to sell. I just learned you make more money. Have I done it in the past? Yeah. Tacked on a little bit here and there and put it out to the guys I know or people I know. But when I first got started with this, I like to be direct to sell. It makes it a lot easier. You have control. And I will not sell to someone who's going to daisy chain. So, anyways, thank you, Trax. There's financing available. Buyer to verify all facts and figures. Why do I have that on there?
Cover your ass.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Any questions on any of that so far? Good stuff so far?
I mean, I always have a hard time with just estimating the rehab costs, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, it seems like some of the stuff you think is cheap, it's expensive, you know what I mean? It's dialing in that rehab cost is always the hard part. We can do the comps throughout the ARV, that's easy, you know, but the rehab always gets me. So,
This is kind of like, just to see if you like wholesaling, this class, I teach a master class. That's like a 6-hour day class. And I'll give you more information at the end, but that is one of the things that we go through in depth of how do we figure that out. So like, I'm a contractor, I know all these things. A lot of people don't. You don't have that background, but you don't have to have that background. All right, that's a good question, thank you. Developing an investor database. These are the people we're gonna sell to, right? So when you started we're all real estate agents, but one, right? When we started in real estate, we had to develop a database, right? It's the same thing. You're replicating what you already did for buyers and sellers for investors. Same thing. So with your buyers and sellers, do you have them in like a Google Drive, or do you have them in your phone contacts? You know how to contact them? Do you have a customer relationship management tool? What do you have? Anybody? CRM? Okay, cool. So you do the same thing with your investors. You're investing in another business. So I have gone through Podio. I've gone through all the CRMs. I've come back and I've landed in real estate and in all of our other businesses. I use Google Drive. Just heads up. By the way, if you're a newer agent and you upload all your stuff into the brokerage's stuff, our CRM that's so custom made and awesome for you, when you leave that agency, or you leave that, I learned this one the hard way too, when you leave that brokerage, that stays with them, and guess what they do? They vacuum it up and send it out to all their agents and say, here's new leads. So, just a heads up. Keep your stuff private. I will never upload to another broker ever again. All right, relationships matter with the investor database. Demonstrate a hard contribution. I am here to help. Where's the inflection? Help. That's my heart. Advertise on social media. We have to be careful with that. We'll talk about that. And then create a pipeline. Start with some small wins and then develop. The more attention you give this, the more it's going to succeed, just like your real estate business. What is a wholesale property? According to Travis, it's an undervalued property in an area of appreciation. What does that mean?
something below the average for that neighborhood.
Let me tell you about my mom's house. My mom lives off of 87th Avenue and Union Hills. She is the original owner from the new build that was done. This product finished in 1988. She has the rad pink oak cabinets with matching pink laminate countertops. And her and her girlfriends got together one day and they did sponge painting on the wall that's mauve. And the mauve curtains matched the mauve wall. And guess what color the carpet is, guys? It's pink! It's pink! So she has got this down. Pink, pink, pink. And that's a decent area, right? That's Arrowhead? Arrowhead? What? So it's 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. What do you think that would go for on the market?
525.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So now we're talking about this house is straight out of 1988. Like, it's a step back in time. Like, you can just walk through the door like, oh wow, I got parachute guys on. Like, that's where this house is. All right, so keep that in mind as I continue down this story. We just talked about market value. The price of a buyer is willing to pay and the seller is willing to sell. So mom's house, that's pink, 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 1988. Do you think a young couple, maybe in their 30s, they got a couple of kids, they're really excited about moving into the area because it's, you know, Peoria School District, do you think they're going to love this house? Heck no. What do they want? Chip and Johanna, right? That's what they want. Like, they want it all pimped out and beautiful. So we have to keep in mind, mom's house, even though comps are $550, if we were going to do something with mom's house, we need to understand a couple more things. What's appraised value?
What the bank's willing to lend.
Exactly. So we need to pay attention to that too. And wholesale value. Wholesale value is somewhere between 70 and 80% of market value. So mom's pink house, what do you think a average buyer would buy that at?
300.
It's a good number. Good number, 300. Knowing that max value that you can get 550 or so. So market value should be somewhere 350, 300. Wholesale value is going to be 70 to 80% of that. Is that making sense? This is where people get tripped up. Appraised value is going to tell us where our ARV is. That gives us an idea, an indicator of where the market's going to support a value, because banks have already loaned on that. That's why we run comps. So market value is what they're going to buy it at. Appraised value, what it's worth. Wholesale value is 70, 80% of that. So I teach these classes probably 2 to 3 times a year. Never fails. We'll teach this class. We'll talk about this. I spend some time on this in class on purpose. Someone will call me next week. Hey, I came to your class. Oh man, thank you so much for coming to my class. You will always hear me say thank you. I appreciate your time. Got a deal. Awesome. Tell me about your deal, baby. My deal is I found a house over in Scottsdale. Listing agent has it marked at $575. I talked him down to $573. Are we ready to go? No. Remember, market value, appraised value, wholesale value. Okay? Everybody cool on this? Make sense? Okay. As a thank you for coming to my class, if you sign in and you write legibly so I can interpret your handwriting, I will send you this. This is what I base all of my deals on. You have 3 things to enter in, and it craps out if it's a deal or not. I'm going to rock you through this whole thing. So, where we're going to put values is purchase price. We're going to put a value on remodel, and we're going to put a value on ARV. So let's walk through it, and please ask me questions. This has to make sense for it to go forward for you. So the purchase price, this is what I am buying the house at. It's $200,000. These are arbitrary numbers, for example. Front side, I've got a hard money loan of $160,000, and I put $40,000 down. What does that mean? How much money did I put down?
20%.
20%. Okay, so oftentimes people ask me, how much money do I need to have to flip? You need to be able to cover this 20%. That's first thing. You're going to put money down on a property, you need to cover that. So that's number 1 money needed. Then we're going to have interest only. I can get money right now at 10%. When I first started flipping houses, it was 18%. That will make you pucker a little bit. 18% is a lot. 10% is good money right now. So I've got 4 months carry. Why would I have 4 months carry?
Enough time to rehab the home and sell it.
I'm sorry?
Enough time to rehab the home and sell it.
That's part of it. Why else? Why do I need at least 90 days? Why do I need at least? FHA. Exactly. So when you are calculating this stuff, you're working with a new investor, remember, I have to carry at least 4 months. You need a month to do the rehab and 3 months for carry, plus if you're going to sell it right away at that 90 day, you need 30 days to close the deal. So that's minimum carry is 4 months. Making sense, everybody? Okay. So I know for 4 months, I'm paying interest only, by the way, interest only, no principal is being paid, of 13 and change per month, so it's 5,300 and change. My closing costs are 1,500. I always do a hold open policy. So it's kind of like signing the back of your title on your car, knowing you're going to sell it. It's the same thing when I work with our escrow officers. I'll tell you more about that when we get to that point. Remodel's $30,000, insurance and water and power. I had one knucklehead investor that wouldn't put insurance on his houses. I'm like, dude, you have a family. Put insurance on your freaking houses. Total cash invest, just under 79,000, 80,000. So when people are asking me how much they need to get into buying real estate and flipping, you're going to need at least $100,000. Okay, that's rule of thumb. For total front side costs, just under 240. Backside, I got an ARV of 300,000. Real estate commissions at 0.05, 5%. Why would I do that?
It's a cost.
It's a cost. But, I mean, most listing agents, they try to get 6%, right? I know we have the buyer broker stuff now, but you know, people get all uppity about, that's my commission, that's what I need. If someone buys from me, I always discount that. Hey, you did a good job buying this house from me. I am so grateful. I'm going to take care of you on the backside. My commission will be X. I offer that. Why? Why do I do that?
For the social revenue and relationship.
Exactly. I value the relationship more than that point. And they come back to me. And they come back to me, and they come back. And then guess what? They tell their friends about me. Cool. Title fees $1,500. Usually, if I do a double escrow, it's about $2,500, $3,000 tops. So that's why I put that budget in. Total fees $16,500. Total ROI is 57%. These are arbitrary numbers. Usually, if I can show an investor that they are north of 30%, it's a deal, and they'll do it. Questions?
Are you penciling concessions into that?
You can. You
In
can.
the back end?
You can.
Or repairs?
The repairs are in there. Pretty well.
Bins or repairs?
Bins are, usually I don't put too much into that because we do a decent job on the remodel. I mean, there's usually maybe some ticky-tacky. I purposely leave some stupid stuff for the inspector to find.
Yeah, there's always something.
I do it on purpose just to make them feel good about themselves. Oh my gosh, it doesn't have GFI stickers in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Heaven help us all. All right. Did that make sense, the value analytics? Okay. You guys don't have very many questions. I must be a heck of a teacher. Yeesh. Wholesales come in many different shapes and sizes and styles. There's not one size that fits all. Investors have their preferences, formulas, fits, areas, specific desired features, stigmas, rituals, superstitions, and feelings. My friend Rodney, he and I did about 250 deals together. He was from the Pacific Northwest. You would never know this guy had money. He was in Tevas and cargo shorts and had long hair and a beard. And oftentimes, if he did not have his lucky socks with him, he would not buy a house. So I learned, where did he buy those socks? And I went and I bought those socks. And I always had the lucky socks with me so that he would buy the house one way or the other. So they have, another one of the guys I work with, he would only buy houses on the corner. Other guy only bought houses with pools. So you never know. You just have to kind of know the people you're working with, have a relationship with them so you can help them. Our role is to see the value of the property in their terms. I sold one property 3 times over to 3 different investors. It's off 4th Street, just north of the I-17 when it curves kind of down by Broadway. It had 4 studios, 4 1-bedrooms, and 4 camper trailers. And this thing was just a cash cow pig. It was ugly as heck. Horribly ugly. And it smelled bad, but it was rented. It was always full. And so we had 12 units, so we had to do 12 different rent rolls. And Kim, the lady that I used for escrow and title, she never failed. She always hit it. So that one was kind of cool to sell it over and over and over again to different people. It's kind of fun. But I knew my role was to show the value of what can this make and know who to sell it to that's looking for that type of property. Identifying wholesale properties. I started with looking at what other people had available. I would look in Facebook groups. I went to Azria. I got an email list. I mean, just started looking at well, who's got what, and then I figured out who actually has it. Because we all get this stupid text of, send me your deal. You know, that's just an automated another wholesaler most of the time. So that wants to daisy chain something. So just be heads up on that. Ask permission to market. If you write your stuff clear and legibly and you want my deals, I will send you my deals. Okay? And remember to rebrand it. So if you email that out and say call Travis, and a person calls me, and then you come to me later and say I want money, you didn't rebrand your deal. You didn't mark it up. Make sure you mark it up. My job is not to watch out for you. My job is to watch out for me. Your job is to watch out for you. Make sure you mark it up. So, what's your name, bud?
Luke.
Luke. So if I send a deal out to Luke, Luke is going to get my deal. He's going to go, man, this is awesome branding that Travis did. Change everything to Luke's branding. Luke's also going to go, man, I see the rate here, or the ROI. There's a little fat in there for me, so I'm going to charge X amount of dollars and send it out to his people. His people's going to say, yes, I want to buy this house. Luke's going to contact me. I'm going to put Luke's number in the contract on my side. I'm going to pay Luke out of escrow. That's how that works.
How do you structure that? So like if I bring the buyer in, you would send an assignment to the buyer?
Depending on how much money is being made in the middle, most likely I'll do a double escrow.
Okay.
So my rule of thumb is if I'm going to make more than $5,000, I do a double escrow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Know your price. Any questions on this so far? Sir?
Knowing your price, is it always a flat dollar amount, or do you go by percentages?
Wherever I can purchase the house at, that value analytics, let's go back to that for a second. Okay. When I use this tool for evaluating if I'm going to buy it, and then I flip it and use it on the investor side. Where do I need to buy this so I'm making money in the middle, and what can I sell it at? So it works both ways. So if I'm going to sell this to an investor, so say I'm going to put it out at 220, does it still pencil and give over a 30% ROI at the bottom? Yes, it does on this one. A lot of times, I have this open on my computer at all times. There's just a window that sits there. People call me with deals, I put it in, it's not a deal. I don't even look at it. So it's a quick analysis tool. And again, all you have to put in is the purchase price, the remodel cost, and the ARV. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, now follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if in this particular analysis,
Yes.
you've got an ROI of almost 58%,
Mhm.
and you want the investor to be able to make at least 30, do you ever cap yourself how much money you're making?
Yeah.
Do you want to take just enough to where, like, you would reduce this down to 50% or 45, or do you?
I'm gonna put this, my rule is if I can get this in the 33 to 35%, if I'm giving it to, like, say you all wanna see it, I'll put it like kinda in that range so that you can, hey, Travis or Luke brings me a guy or a person and says, I got this, but I've got it marked up $5,000. I've got it marked up 10 grand. Does it still work, and does your buyer wanna do it? So then Luke tells me what he wants to make on it. I write all the contracts. And it goes out to everyone. Luke gets paid straight from Tyler. No brokerage fees.
So your markup is basically just anything between that 58 down to 35, and whatever's in that middle right there is yours. Okay.
I got a question on that. Are
Sure.
you using AAR contracts on the buy
Great
side?
questions, yes.
You are?
Yeah, stay
Okay.
tuned. I'm gonna tell you more about it. Okay. Any other questions before I move on? No? Okay. Identify wholesale properties. When you're gonna make the money is if you find them yourself. It's great to piggyback off others to kind of jumpstart your business, but the more you can find them yourself and be direct to seller is really important. I find them all over the place. Craigslist, classifieds, potential sellers, renters. MLS, if it's on the MLS, over 180 days. One of the guys in our team, he's gone on and started his own team now, but he is a beast at finding stuff on the MLS. He's a stud at that. Database, social media. I do a lot of, hey, we buy properties for cash. I play ball on Wednesday nights. Sometimes I go to the bar and have a beer with some buddies. It leads to conversation. What are you doing? Hey, I'm buying houses for cash. Someone over here's sitting at the bar stool next to me and they want to buy a house. Sometimes it's at cheer, where my daughter was at cheer, my sons were at baseball. I talk about this, right? And I talk about it because it actually helps me. I feel really good about what I do. I help people. bigger margins, mark it up. Cool. I get excited about this stuff, guys, so if I get over passionate, forgive me. So, if I'm gonna call on a property, I'm gonna give them a shout and say, hey, I saw your property on Zillow. I see you're for sale by owner. Is that true? And I hear in the background kids or dogs or whatever. Okay, cool. Yes, I have dogs too. I've got kids too. It's good to meet you. My name's Travis. Yada yada, talk it up. And then I'm going to discover what all the regular questions our teachers used to ask us back in the day. How? How do they want to sell their property? What needs sold? Tell me about your property. When do you need to sell it by? Where exactly is it located? Why do you need to sell your property? Big question. And how much? So I want to know all these things so I can see the full picture. Knowing I'm probably not the only one competing. So I want to understand why. The why is huge. And then, hey, I'm here to help. I can come by tomorrow between 1 and 3. Does that work for you? Always looking for the yes there. Go and do the visit. Before I go to the visit, I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to get on Monsoon, Maricopa County Assessor, look at previous MLS listings. This clues me into what the heck is going on with this house. If it's never been sold before, yay, we love that. Yay. If I notice a discrepancy between Zillow's square footage and Maricopa County square footage, do I freak out? No, I know how to fix that. I go to the visit, knock on the door, step back, because I'm a big guy, I don't want to intimidate, step back, turn sideways. Hey, I'm Travis, we talked on the phone yesterday about our kids and our dogs. Here to talk about the house. Can I come in? Yes, cool, go in. I'm gonna go through and talk with it. As we're having conversation, I'm gonna say, hey, can we walk around the house and can you show me what's going on with your house? Oh, I noticed that there's a hole in the ceiling in the living room and it's raining in your living room. This is cool. Is this an updated feature? No, our roof fell off. All right, cool. Tell me more about the AC that is no longer there. Tell me more about what happened underneath the kitchen sink. Tell me more about the 50 pounds of dog feces in the bathroom. How did this get here? What happened? What's happening? Oh, we're going through a really embarrassing and hard divorce. Oh, my granddaughter's sick. I need to sell the house to help pay for medical bills. Oh, I'm having struggles. I can't do this anymore. I can't take care of the house. Once we start getting to the heart of the issue and why, then you can be more prepared to help. Also, this is bonus information. Where are you going to go after this? So many people come in and all they care about is the deal. Have a heart. If you don't have a heart, you're in the wrong business. You're in the wrong business. The people that you're going to meet with that are going through this stuff, they're going through it. There's a reason they can't sell it on the market. Otherwise, they just call another knucklehead realtor. There's 70,000 of those idiots out there, right? So why are you evaluating? What's helping? How are you helping this person? So keep that in mind as you walk through. And ask permission. Can I take pictures? So a lot of times I'll get deals from other people. And they're like, here's 10 pictures of a house that's never been on the market. And I'm trying to make evaluation right now. We need to provide pictures. So I just did one in Yuma. I drove 2.5 hours to go look at this house. I bought this house. Took 92 pictures of a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. Took pictures of the roof, the AC, any hole. So that investor knows the story. They don't even need to go in the house. I've already painted the picture. Trying to make it as easy as possible. So when we're doing it, we need to keep that in mind. If you're on a visit, get your phone out and take a lot of pictures. Get underneath the sinks. Get behind the corner. Get in the closets so we know what's going on. Does it have, here's another bonus. Sun City, historically, is a wonderful place to do flips. Now is the time to buy in Sun City because why? Snowbirds come back when?
November, December.
October. So that gives us that 90 days. If we buy it now, we do the rehab. This is where a lot of us are looking right now, is Sun Cities. However, Sun Cities were also built before 1965, 1970. When that is the case, then we're dealing with asbestos in the floor tile, in the drywall, in the insulation. We're also dealing with lead-based paint. So things like that to keep in mind as we're looking at these properties. Also, grandma who owns a house bought it back in 1968. She's going into a home and she needs to have whatever revenue from this that we can generate to help her. You see how there's so much at play here. So it's important to have some understanding. I work with a team. I want to present your property as a potential for purchase. I really want to help you. I'll bring you a cash offer. When you work with me, I am pre-qualified for the move. We can buy whatever. I have probably 20 different private money sources, so I'm pre-qualified for whatever. If you find a deal and you need to offload it, you just want to start learning how to do this, what I do with my home group agents or any other agent that I work with, if you bring me a deal and I sell it, we split the middle. So that deal I showed you on 65th Avenue, that was from one of my friends that's an agent. And he knew that because of the dog poop everywhere and the cat poop everywhere and the hoarder situation, he couldn't sell it. So he brings it to me. Then we split the proceeds. So he and I split $30,000.
Who represented the seller?
There's no representation.
Okay. So you're buying it direct from the seller, no representation. Okay.
Zero representation. I'll show you how I do that when we get to that. All right. So you found this house on Zillow or Craigslist or MLS, and they've got a ridiculous price on there. They didn't incorporate that it rains in the living room, and that the AC isn't there, and that there's 50 pounds of dog poop in the bathroom. So I have a conversation. Hey, remember, I'm Travis. We've talked before. Friends, dogs, kids, whatever our connection is. What would a contractor need to fix on your property? And how much do you think that will cost? And then shut up. Let it sit. See how uncomfortable 3 seconds just were right there without me talking? Feels a little uncomfortable. Same thing happens when you're on those appointments. Let them sit in it. They don't know. And then you come back with, because of what's going on with your house, with the repairs that are needed, I can offer on your property this amount of dollars because I have to fix these things. And 9 times out of 10, we're like, okay, they understand. And we're being real, we're telling the truth. I'm not here to beat them up and just try to get a deal. I'm telling the truth. I'm trying to maximize them out as much as I can because they need to go somewhere too. Which also, by the way, most of the time leads you to helping them with another transaction. Because you're a licensed realtor and you know how to do that, right? So I'm getting potentially 2 deals out of one just by helping the person that's in the house, and then I'm bringing in a cash buyer that's part of my database that needs an agent to sell the house on the end. So how many transactions am I looking at on one wholesale transaction? Potentially 3. So making sure we're taking care of all people in the transaction is critical. I have had sellers sell the property to me over dude that shows up in his Lamborghini, over the guy who's on TV, even though they're offering them more money because they knew they cared about them. All right, make the offer. We're reaffirm that relationship. I'm here to help. I'm going to present that offer over the phone or as is or in person if I can. And remember, all of my offers are as is cash. Which means, do we have to go through an appraisal? No. All of the AR contract is as is, right? We all know that as agents. Does the public know that? No. I write in big letters, as is, no repairs. Just so they know I'm not coming back on it. And then I do a two-week escrow. That's pretty normal. I've closed in as little as 24 hours. Some of the other deals take longer depending on probate or whatever. Ready? Why should they go with us versus Zillow, OfferPad, Open Door, 72 sold? Anybody know the process for those guys?
So they offer a high price, then they're gonna have a 5% convenience fee, then they're gonna, how much is it? 9, okay.
Yeah,
And then
7.5%.
I've seen it range, and then they're gonna come back out, ask for repairs.
That's right.
Meanwhile, what has the seller done? They think they sold their house, right?
Yeah,
And so they go out and do what?
we start looking,
And they get under contract.
yep.
And then what do they do? Because pictures, they put it on social media, right? They tell their friends and family, we bought a house, we're moving. And then when does the bidder come back?
the last day of the inspection period.
How long are these guys' inspection periods?
14 days.
10 days.
14 days. Because they do 10 working days. So you could be 14, 15 days.
I think typically they don't go under contract though, do they? They do?
So this puts, when you're talking with people and they're like, oh, I'll just call whoever. Guys, this is the process. And then at the end of that 14-day period, they're going to come back and whack you with a price reduction that they need or can't. Because they're going to send their inspector out that's there for a whole 10 minutes. They're going to make some whambo jambo stuff up to get a price drop, and you're already under contract, and they feel leveraged, right? They feel screwed. They can't do anything but take the hit. When they work with us, we tell them the truth up front. This is the truth. And I care about you, and I want to get you where you want to go. And we've been doing it for 18 years. So that's the difference. So does that help you? Give you some aura authority on your part of going out there?
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, you could have added other wholesalers to that list too, because that price reduction thing at the very end that happens all the time. Like that stuff drives me crazy.
It does. Writing the contract. Luke, you had a great question. I use standard AAR forms. I've used these since the beginning. And if we're agents, we should know them really freaking well. Honestly, there should be a copy of it in the back of our toilet. We should really know the contract. What to include? I include a purchase contract, market conditions, HOA if needed, wastewater and well if needed, just whatever's particular and pertinent to the property, that's what I put in there. And then I'm prepared with pre-qualification or proof of funds. Because savvy sellers want to know that you're not just talk, show me. So I always have that ready to go. Feel free to take pictures. This is a must requirement by, it's not harmless. Gosh dang, it's slipping my mind. Our regulatory agency.
The Department of Real Estate?
Yes, Department. I was on the Department of Real Estate. This is a must. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. These you have to have in there. I'm going to go over these verbatim, line by line, so to make sure you understand. Buyer retains all rights to a double escrow, and seller acknowledges the buyer's intent to close this transaction as an assignment or double escrow. Why do I have that there? Let's pick it apart. It gives me permission to resell the property. And it tells them exactly how I'm going to do it. So there's no surprises. Everybody's knows this is what's happening. A lot of times, I've done this so much, I would rather wholesale it than flip it. Because I don't have to carry. I don't have to put my money out. I don't have to do the flip. I've got the relationship that I can leverage and just sell the property, make money, and pay for my kids' college. Buyer and seller are aware this transaction is for the intended profit of both parties. Why is that there?
They don't get mad when they find out you're making money on the double escrow.
Yep. We have to disclose that we are going to make money. This is just really nice way of saying it. Everybody makes money. And really the way I feel, if we're not all making money, this is a lose deal. Everyone that's involved should have to be making some money. No one should lose. Okay? Buyer and seller agree to extend the COE, what is that? That's right there. As needed to identify and cure any additional items and may prevent the seller from providing the buyer free and clear title. What does that mean?
Liens on property.
Good. What else?
It protects the buyer from the seller not wanting to follow through.
Yes. Sometimes sellers will have all kinds of wholesalers out and take all kinds of contracts. This makes it so that I'm first in line. It's one of the ways, but also, case in point, the one that I'm doing in Numera, I'll say the one I just finished in Tucson. One brother did a quick claim deed to another brother. Then the brother that owned the house phoned out and went to Mexico, took off. Never to be heard from, never to be seen from again, left. But he did the quick claim deed. Title wants brother one to come back and sign over that he's not doesn't want any money from the transaction. Brother's gone. So I have another buyer on the end of the line because I did a double escrow, Now, this protects me from the end buyer saying, never mind, I can't do it, because the seller hasn't provided any of us clear title. So that transaction took 3 months. There's private investigators hired, it was all kinds of crazy. We ended up having to bump it to another title agency, and we finally got it closed. That's really interesting, yeah. But this one protects you also from probate. I've had that happen, I had a 9-month transaction because of probate. Because a lot of times when families are putting mom in a home, they don't know, and there's no will, and there's no trust, and the state wants to get their portion. So just things to pay attention to.
So that prevents them from canceling?
Yep.
When
And
I-
their $5,000 non-refundable deposit.
We've had 3 deals in the last 3 weeks canceled because of fraud with title. I don't know if you've been seeing that lately, but people are putting houses for sale that they don't know.
I have seen that, yes.
And it's becoming
I have seen
more
that.
common.
Mhm.
I've never seen that before.
Yep. Additional, close of escrow shall be on or before X date. Obviously, we put in the date that we want to close, but if we can do it on or before the one I'm doing in U1 right now, we have a 30-day escrow, we're gonna pull it into 10. Just knock it out. One or more members of GGB Enterprises is a licensed realtor. I buy all of the properties through GGB Enterprises. Why do I need to disclose I'm a realtor? Because it's a lot, exactly. I put these ones to stump you guys. I'm glad everybody knows. Good job. Bonus term and condition. I don't put this on when I'm working with the seller. Buyer agrees to pay all closing costs. I definitely put that on when I'm selling it to an investor. They're paying all the closing costs. The reason I don't put it there is because sometimes people still want to wiggle. I had one guy in Mesa that was like, hey, you gotta pay all the closing costs. I'm like, okay, I'll pay all the closing costs, but my offer is gonna be this. Just pull the closing costs off. And he's like, all right, okay, we'll do it that way. So he just needed to know this closing costs were getting paid for. He didn't care how it went. So it's the same number, it's the same number. To me, it's about, but to him it was important. So that's why I put it there. Buyer waives appraisal contingency and accept the property and as is where is condition. Why do I put that there?
It's reaffirming.
It's giving the seller peace of mind. And also, when I usually say same terms when I'm selling it double escrow wise to the buyer, I just switch buyer and seller. It also lets them know I'm not warranting jack diddle. I've never owned this house. You're not getting a spuds from me. It is what it is. So, buyer is not represented, seller is not represented. There you go. This protects me from Cousin Vinny popping his head up saying, I represented the seller in this transaction. I need my commission. And I also write on the back page an A, an A, an A, an A around all of the agents, brokerages, everything. So when I got hired, when I came into my license with Mark and Jeremy 10 years ago, I told them wholesaling is a massive part of my business. And you guys don't give me any of that. I had this before I became a real estate agent, and I'm not going to pay any type of fee to a brokerage. And they said, cool, we're down with that. And you're welcome to do that with everybody else that you teach within the brokerage or outside the brokerage. It's totally cool. We know we're not getting a portion of this. So all of our transaction funding comes straight from title. We get wires straight from title. Nothing comes out, not a transaction coordinator. Nothing comes out. And whenever you work with me on a deal you bring me, we split it. We split the proceeds. You get paid directly. I need a 1099, but you get paid direct from title. All right, you're under contract. Before you market it, you must be under contract. This is critical. Before you market, before you tell anybody, before you do anything, make sure you're under contract. I had an office over at Arrowhead. Brand new agent came in, celebrating. I'm just going to go on my first list. I just went to my first listing appointment. I'm back to make some corrections on my contract, on my listing agreement. I'm going back out. Shady shade agent sitting next to her. Where is it? I might have a buyer. Oh, the address is blah, 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 blah. Awesome. Did you tell him that you're new? No, I didn't tell him that. Okay, well, you know, if you need any help, just let me know. Shady agent packs up her crap, gets in her car, drives over to the house, knock, knock, knock. I work at the same brokerage as whatever young lady was named, and this is her first transaction, so I'm here to help. So she asked me to come by with the listing agreement, and let's just get this signed. Did the brokerage do anything? No, because she was a highfalutin, brought in a bunch of deals, did nothing. That poor girl got nothing. Don't say a word until you have it under contract. You can also file an affidavit of equitable interest with the title company where you are having escrow held. Don't share until you have it under contract. It's really important, guys. People ask me all the time, you have deals? Nope. Nope, I can be working on 5 different deals. Until I have something under contract, I don't say a word. I don't even hint, nothing, until it's under contract. That way everybody knows when I say there's a deal, there's a deal. Marketing, I'm gonna share this on social media. I also have a database I send it out to. When I do it on social media, what are things that we have to make sure we put on as real estate agents on social media? Brokering, can we just use MHG? It's got to be fully spelled out, right? So I write, by the way, I'm a realtor at my home group, and we abide by equal housing opportunity law. Good job, guys. Well done. So whenever I blast something on social media, I put that. We can help with this as well. I've got 500 to 1,000 cash buyers that I'm working with myself, and I've got a buddy that has 24,000. So I have canceled in 18 years, in 650 plus deals, I've canceled on 2 deals when COVID hit. There was only 2 deals I canceled on. And I had buyers on both of them, and this was when the whole world shut down. So it's the only time I've ever canceled a deal. So if it's a deal, it's a deal. I don't cancel it. Exit strategies. You can do subject to, assignments, double escrows, fix and flips, joint ventures, rentals, and a rent-own program. Subject to a wrap. People are asking me about this a lot. This is a big deal right now. It's happening. So, how does it work? The buyer takes over the seller's remaining note balance. There's usually a sizable down payment that this buyer is going to give the seller. What the buyer is getting out of it is the current seller's interest rate. So all the wholesaler or flipper or investor is paying is the payment that the seller is currently paying. They're paying it directly to the mortgage. They're basically assuming what that mortgage payment is. There's a third party that is required that takes the money from the investor, distributes it to the seller and to the mortgage company. If the lender finds out about this, they can call a no deal. There's a servicing company that does this, and it's basically just a wire to the lender with the account number, and 99% of the time it's not an issue. But this is a really big deal. People are using this quite a bit because what I mentioned was my good rate right now at borrowing money, private money, 10%. If you can get interest at 2.8 and you're just making that payment while you carry the house while you're doing the renovation, it's much more attractive than using hard money, right? So that's happening. By the way, once this deal closes, once the investor takes it to market, closes it, the original mortgage gets paid off. Meanwhile, the seller has gone on and bought another house. Okay. Assignment versus double escrow. I mentioned to you guys earlier, I have just a hard and fast rule. If I'm making more than $5,000 on it, I am not going to assign it. If it's less than $5,000, I'll do the assignment. Investors know you're there to make money too. We don't do this for free, but they have a tendency to get upset when they see sometimes big spreads, and on average, I've made as little as $1,000 and as much as $30,000, multiple times $30,000. And that's okay. For me, it's fine. If I'm somewhere in there, I don't care. Do I have more money today than I did yesterday? That's really what I care about. I want to stay profitable. A lot of times, it's just I'm a baseball guy. If I can get a base knock every day, I'm happy. But every once in a while, the big dog comes to the plate, he smashes one, and you get those big wins. So that's why I love this business, is your earning potential can be whatever you want it to be. Sir?
And so, what if that investor, can't you see in the monsoon that it closed for a certain price and then resold for a certain price?
So, in the 18 years that I've done this, I have had 2 investors come back to me and go, "Man, you made a lot of money on that." My answer is, were you happy with the price? Are you making money? Yeah. Like, then what do you care? Did you like the deal? Yeah. So why are you worried about it? Let's go do another deal. Quit crying. So that's my take. You know, 99% of the time they don't look at it.
Yeah. And then where does the daisy chain fall in this? So how would
Daisy chain
that-
cannot do this. You can't do a daisy chain. Well, let me back up. How the daisy chain would work on these is whoever, I am always in control of writing the contracts. So if you bought it from Luke and then you bought it from him and there's 4 of us involved, I need to know the end number and who's making what so I can direct title to do what they're going to do at the end of the day, whoever. But I need to know. So it's not that I'm trying, I don't care what your number is. I hope you make money. I know my number and I'm making money. So I'm always going to leave meat on the bone for everybody else. So, because I can't always do this by myself, and I want more relationships. The more we win, the more we win. Everybody wins. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So assignment, this is basically taking, if I have the contract and Luke is going to buy it from me, Luke becomes me. Whatever I committed to, Luke's got to do. A double escrow, it's 2 separate transactions. The second transaction is funding the first transaction, completely autonomous. So I could be selling this property to Luke, but I'm agreeing to do, what's your name, bud? Chris. I'm buying from Chris. So, and I'm selling the property to Luke, but I have an agreement with Chris that he's going to pay his closing costs or not pay his, or I'm going to pay his closing costs. We'll say that. But when I sell Luke, Luke is going to pay my closing costs. So I'm only paying a portion of this closing cost, but not this closing cost. Because in a double escrow, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. Or I'm going to clean up the yard, or whatever is between he and I, Sir.
I used to do double escrows way back. Well, my first transaction in real estate was in 1972. But I understand that you cannot do that anymore.
It's not true.
I mean, I
Title
could,
company.
so if I buy his house for 400 and I have a 90-day whatever closing date, but I turn around and sell it to you
Yep.
for a couple $100,000 more, that's legal.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It used to. We used to do that a lot, but I didn't think we could do that anymore.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So one of the other things I do in my contracts, when I'm writing when I'm direct to seller, me as a buyer, it's GGB Enterprises or assignee. You always have to mention that. If you don't mention assignee, or that you don't put the double escrow, or you don't put that verbiage in there, if none of that verbiage is in there, you're right, you can't do that. But my verbiage allows me the freedom to do that.
Well, we have to let them know that we're in the business, obviously.
But I disclose that I'm closing this by assignment or double escrow
Okay.
on my additional terms. So did you take a picture of those things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are these available, or do I have to meet with you another time?
I will. when
Which
we're
I can
done-
do that.
When we're done, I'll go back and I'll let you take a picture of the terms, okay? That way you always have it. But those terms, we as wholesalers, we have to have that legally for ADRE. You have to have that in your contract. Yeah, but you can't, if Chris is representing, he's a real estate agent, and he is representing a buyer, the buyer buys a house, and the buyer goes, "Ooh, man, there's an opportunity here, I'm gonna sell my contract." If it doesn't say or assignable, or that there's a double escrow available, then you're 100% right, that is legal. The standard AAR form contract is non-assignable. You can't do it. That's why it's really important to know your stuff. Put those additional terms in. That's a great question.
Okay, I'll talk to you after.
Okay. Any more questions about this, guys? Okay. Other things, assignment, title fees are so much cheaper because you're only doing one transaction. It's easier, there's less moving parts, but the investor's gonna know your numbers. Double escrow, there's double the title fees. Remember how I told you I do a hold open policy? I save, by using that, I save about 40% overall in title fees. So it's really important to use an escrow officer that knows what they're doing. There's no such thing as a triple escrow. I tried that once, can't do that. Also knows who's doing closing costs and keeps your earnings private. All right, we have about 7 minutes left. I'm gonna bust through this as quickly as I can. If we run a couple minutes over, is that okay? Okay. Fix and flip versus a joint venture. So if you're gonna get into fix and flip, you need this. A source of capital. How much money do you need at least? 100,000. You're gonna need trade contractors. If you're gonna risk it, it's your biscuit, baby. Like, you need whoever's doing. If you're gonna do a fix and flip, you need to really rely on your resources to have the knowledge to do this. Some people bring the financing part. Some people bring the decorating part. There's so many different ways to put this together. I did a fix and flip with one of my best friends. We bought a condo off like Northern and 12th Street. His thing was, I just want my wife to have an outlet to decorate. Our budget is. Well, she found tile. I'm like, our budget is. Well, she found flooring. Dude, our budget is. And you let her go bonkers on this little crapper condo and overspent. That's the only time out of all the years I've been doing this that the investor lost, because he did not adhere to the budget. You have to adhere to budget. Joint venture. This is where you create a couple different, you have different LLCs. I use this when I'm doing coaching or training. If we kind of align, our LLCs align, they pay each other. You need to partner with someone who has a skill set to do this. So when I'm mentoring new investors, that's what I do. Here's some resources. These are private money lenders I've used for a bunch of years. Title companies. Kim Stembridge. Kim Stembridge is by far the best escrow officer I've ever worked with in my life. She has only been doing this for 39 years. She's the one that helped me with that 12-unit property 3 times. I've never been able to stump her. She always, if I do something crazy, she keeps me in line. Like, I love her. Kim Gritz does a good job too. Cheryl Davis does a good job. By the way, Kim Stembridge trained both of them. So that's, if you want to talk about the Belichick tree coming down from NFL, Kim Stembridge is like the godfather. Naomi, she does a good job too. And I've used Shelly Reese a couple of times. This is, I teach a wholesale masterclass. Like the whole deal today is to kind of get your whistle wet. If this interests you, I do a masterclass that kind of, it's a 6-hour deal. This is Ms. Waka, she does a little testimonial. We're pushing on time. She said I did a good job. So I can let you listen to it after the fact if you want to honor you guys' time. I've got another masterclass coming up. And this is what I teach in the masterclass. How to create your LLC and why it's so important. Develop an investor database. I can show you how to do it. How to brand yourself as a wholesaler. How to engage social media and market your wholesale business. We talk about properly evaluating rehab costs. How to responsibly diagnose ARV. How many of you guys get the text from the wholesalers like, hey, I got this awesome property in Scottsdale. It's only $2 to buy it. And you probably can put 50 cents in and you'll make $40 million. Or they'll do comps and there's a comp from Scottsdale for a house in Levine. Like, you see the crazy out there, right? So we don't want to be those people. So we're going to talk about how do we do that right. How to find and leverage hard money lenders. How to work with other wholesalers to provide product for your database. Call scripts. We go specifically over these. What to say, how to say it. Every class I've taught 8 of these. We set appointments during that class. We make calls at the end of the class. People make money. So my next class is a week from today, on the 30th. It's $1,200 a seat. I only take so many people because I want to be able to really dive into your business and teach you how to do it. So I also do private coaching. This is for our real estate team. A lot of times when I teach these classes, people ask us about our real estate team. We do one-on-one mentoring, establish relationships with our industry providers and lenders, inspectors, all of that. We have streamlined systems. We basically teach you how to be a real estate agent, teach you how to run a business. And then here is my contact information. Remember, we also do Finzer repairs and remodels, and you can finance some of the Finzer stuff. I also do estimates for your buyers if they want to leverage the seller a little bit. I charge $300 to do an estimate so you can leverage the seller. If they want to do the work, I discount that $300. And then there's about GGB. Any questions?
What was your email again? Well, I got your card.
Okay. I have cards out on the table, and if you want to hang around, shake my hand, you're welcome to. Thank you guys so much for just taking your time. Did anybody learn something today?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.